Made clear to our viewers and listeners is that, look, this is the inauguration represented the beginning of his second term.
Yes.
But it also represented the countdown of the end of his presidency.
That's right.
And the reality is, like anything else, you better get what you can while he's there, because look, come 2016, that's it.
Well, you know, I don't know, and I think some people are missing something here. The president has put in place an organization that contains the kind of database that no one has ever seen before in life. That's going to be very, very powerful, and whoever...
In terms of the Organizing for America that he's now shifting to become a 501c4.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. And that database will have information about everything on every individual in ways that it's never been done before, and whoever runs for president on the Democratic ticket have to deal with that. They're going to have to go down with that database and the concerns of those people because they can't get around it. And he's been very smart. I mean, it's very powerful what he's leaving in place, and I think that's what any Democratic candidate is going to have to deal with.
Someone wants to know why their own government has decided to go on a fishing expedition through every personal record or private document, through the library books that you read, the phone calls that you've made, the emails that you've sent. This legislation gives people no rights to appeal the need for such a search in a court of law. No judge will hear your plea. No jury will hear your case. This is just plain wrong. Provide our intelligence and law enforcement agencies with the tools they need to track and take out the terrorists without undermining our Constitution and our freedom. That means no more illegal wiretapping of American citizens. No more national security letters to spy on citizens who are not suspected of a crime. No more tracking citizens who do nothing more than protest a misguided war. No more ignoring the law when it is inconvenient. That is not who we are.
If you look at how the New York Times, the editorial board, actually originally reported this story, here's how it originally was yesterday afternoon online. The administration has now lost all credibility. Mr. Obama is proving the truism that the executive will use any power it is given and very likely abuse it. But then that story changed a short time later to this: the administration has now lost all credibility on this issue. So they changed from just the issue to the entire sort of administration and what's gone on over the last couple of years to just this one particular issue.
And listen, I'm all for it, the Patriot Act. I think it's effective, it's necessary. And there's so many people like Senator Saxby Chambliss, way on the right, who say, listen, I've seen it, I've seen its work, I can't tell you everything, but it's effective.
They have no right to phone records. These phone records, they get both sides. They monitor how long the phone conversation takes place. People who have they're not on record for anything. This is the government getting into our business, and it ought to be out. It is illegal, it is unconstitutional, and it's deplorable. And I didn't like it when they did it in the Bush administration. I don't like it when they're doing it now. I know they're looking for methods and all kinds of intricate things on computers. Screw that. The fact of the matter is they're listening in on, they're not listening, they're taking my phone records. Get your hands off my phone records. I mean, sometimes I got some 800 numbers I don't want you to know.
But my assessment and my team's assessment was that they help us prevent terrorist attacks. And the modest encroachments on privacy that are involved in getting phone numbers or duration without a name attached and not looking at content, that on net, it was worth us doing. Now, some other folks may have a different assessment of that. But I think it's important to recognize that you can't have 100% security and also then have 100% privacy and zero inconvenience. We're going to have to make some choices as a society.
That was just U.S. to U.S. internally. Now, what they're talking about now is a program that started 2006, 2007, which involved the internet, so the internet and the internet service providers.
That takes it to a whole other level because, as I mentioned with our last guests, now you're talking about monitoring content. It's one thing to look at phone records, we can have that debate, but actually reading emails, and the president says it's not of Americans, but there's only a 51% threshold required of foreignness for them to deem it's okay to look.
Aggregated metadata can be more revealing than content. It's very important to realize that when an entity collects information about you that includes locations, bank transactions, credit card transactions, travel plans, Easy Pass, on and off tollways, all of that can be timelined to track you day to day, to the point where people can get insight into your intentions and what you're going to do next.
And that brings us to the question of trust. You know, do we trust? You guys worked there for, you know, decades. Kirk, you tell me whether we can trust the folks who work at the NSA not to misuse that information.
There's nothing unique about human beings that work at NSA that's different from human beings that work at the IRS or that work at the DOJ. This has been the fear of ruled peoples throughout the ages. We don't need to operate on a wink and a nod, trust me. We need real protections built in terms of software implementation to protect and hide the identities of innocent people. And we need to go back to obeying the Fourth Amendment, the principle, the concept, if you will, of probable cause must be honored and can be, Megan, without sacrificing anything in the ability to discover bad guys doing bad things.
Does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly. There are cases where they could inadvertently, perhaps, collect, but not wittingly.